All right, so let's dive into the world of one of the greatest investors ever, Warren Buffett. But look, this isn't going to be some get-rich-quick thing. What we're really talking about here is a completely different way of thinking, a philosophy that pretty much flips everything you think you know about the stock market on its head. Let's get into it.
You know, for most of us, this is exactly what the stock market feels like, isn't it? Just this frantic, high-speed race. We're constantly told we have to be faster, we have to be smarter, we have to be a step ahead of everyone else. So we chase the hot tips, we try to guess what's going to happen next, and we're always living with that anxiety, that fear of missing out. Honestly, it's just exhausting.
And this slide just lays it all out so perfectly. On the left, you've got the common view. It's chaotic, it's stressful, it's pure speculation. And then on the right, you have the Buffett way. It's calm, it's patient, and it's all about finding real, actual value. It's like they're not even playing the same game. So, what's the secret to playing his game?
Well, it turns out his big secret isn't some super complex financial algorithm or anything like that. Nope, it's actually way simpler, and honestly, a lot more powerful.
This is the part that's so fascinating. It just completely shatters this myth that you have to be some kind of super genius to succeed. Buffett's success doesn't come from having a crazy high IQ. It comes from having the right mindset, and then just applying that mindset over and over and over again for decades.
I really love this quote because it just gets right to the core of his real advantage. See, it's not about being the fastest. It's about endurance. It's about having the will to just stay in the race even when it's slow or seems boring, while everyone else is frantically jumping in and out. So, what does this path actually look like? How does he decide what's even worth his time? Okay, to really understand his whole framework, we have to start with one simple but absolutely critical distinction that he makes.
First, you've got price. This is that number that's always flashing on your screen, right? It goes up, it goes down, it's totally emotional, it's super volatile, and it's driven by the daily mood swings of the crowd, all that fear and hype and breaking news. Price is simply what you pay.
But then, there's value. And this is a completely different animal. Value is the real, fundamental worth of the business itself. You know, its actual ability to make money, its competitive advantages. This is what you actually get. And here's the thing. Price can jump around like crazy every single day, but real value, that only changes when the business itself fundamentally changes.
And this right here is the whole ball game. Most people get trapped reacting to the noise, the daily drama of the price. But the truly successful long-term investors, they focus on the signal. They focus on the intrinsic value of the piece of the business they are buying.
So how does he find that value? Well, he uses these four incredibly simple but powerful criteria. First, he asks, is this a business I can actually understand? Second, does it have some kind of durable competitive advantage, he calls it a moat, that protects it from competitors? Third, is it run by people who are honest and good at their jobs? And finally, number four, does it make cash consistently? That's it. No crazy formulas, just good old-fashioned business sense. But just knowing those four pillars, that's only half the battle. This next part is where we get to the core of the philosophy. Because your real advantage as an investor, it's not what you think. You hear this all the time with Buffett. He stays inside his circle of competence. He just doesn't mess with industries he doesn't get, no matter how popular they are. The point here is so important. You don't have to be an expert on everything. You just need to deeply, truly understand the few things you decide to put your money into. That is how you really manage risk. And there it is. Your ultimate advantage in the market has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's all about your temperament. It's about your ability to control your own emotions and your own behavior when everyone else around you is completely losing their minds.
So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it means you don't panic sell when the market takes a dive. It means you don't get swept up in greed when everybody's making a killing. It means you have to be okay with being boring sometimes. And maybe most importantly, it means having the patience to just step back and let time and the magic of compounding do the really hard work for you. So as we start to wrap this up, it becomes pretty clear that this is about way more than just buying stocks, right? It's a much bigger philosophy, one that you can really apply to almost anything in life.
When you really boil it all down, everything we've talked about, it starts way before you ever click buy. It starts right up here, in your own head. Once you get really clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it, the market stops being this big, scary, unpredictable monster and starts becoming a partner for the long haul.
So we're all kind of obsessed with this question, right? Can I beat the market? But the sources we looked at for this explainer suggest that, well, that's just the wrong question.
There's a much deeper, much more personal question we should all be asking ourselves instead.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? It completely turns the tables away from the market and puts the spotlight right back on you. It's not about being the fastest. It's not about being the smartest. It's about having the character to play the long game. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most valuable investment lesson there is.